So here's another episode of the free VST plugin detective, where essentially I demonstrate, test out, and review various free VSTs and plugins. This one today is an awesome plugin. I use it in my track Dean Winchester. I know, I like the show Supernatural. It's basically a song I made encapsulating his personality in musical form. And for this song, I love this plugin. This is the Versilian Studios Chamber Orchestra 2 Violin Section. Bit of a mouthful, so basically the VSCO2 Violin Section. And Versilian Studios, their plugins are incredible, I will say. Now, as you notice here, it says Community Edition. The main reason why, obviously, is the free version. They do have plugins that you can buy, but the free ones are just so incredible. The sound and everything, I mean, you can't really beat it. So let's jump right into this. So I'm going to show you basically how it sounds. Obviously, that's probably the point of this video. For most people watching these videos, they want to say, okay, how does it sound? So I'm going to solo the section that I wrote, because obviously for a lot of these videos, I like to show you how I use it in my own tracks. Not just as, here's how one note sounds, but here's how it actually sounds within the song. So I turned it up a little bit so you can hear it, basically soloed. Now, obviously, with the rest of the song, in case you're curious. So obviously a bit more of like a chill part, you know. And as you can see here too, I actually have their cello section plugin I use as well at the same time. But obviously for the sake of this video, I'm just focusing on the violin section. Now, as you can hear, I love this sound. You know, I originally got into music, you know, I actually did 10 years of piano and 7 years of saxophone, and then that's what one thing led to another, became a DJ and electronic music producer, but I've always been obsessed with movie scores. And especially when I was in college and studying, I literally had, I think, a library of like 10 gigs of every single movie score you could think of. I could name off like movie score, you know, composers and everything. And so I'm really picky about orchestral elements, especially strings, because the waveform and just the sound of them is a very unique thing. It's not just like a static thing. There's a lot going on with strings, especially their vibratic nature. And that's what makes me so picky, and that's why for this plugin, I love the way it sounds. I'm just going to kind of solo and play some notes, but as you can hear, right, an amazing sound. I love that sound. Now, basically going to the GUI, or basically the graphical user interface of this plugin, so you basically have what you need. You have basically the envelopes. You have ADSR, or attack, delay, attack, decay, sustain, and release. You basically have the mixer and effects, the volume, the pan, and the reverb. The volume and the pan, I don't really use too much, to be honest. I mean, it's kind of there. The reverb, I typically usually like the Ableton reverb. I usually parallel process it, but for the sake of this particular song, especially because in the song itself, these violin, or the violin section, are basically more in the background, I basically like that, and I like that basically a lot better, so I just kind of use the reverb, because I'm like, you know what, it's not going to be at the forefront of the track, so I don't really care if the reverb sounds a particular way. I just want to kind of have a little bit of a reverb, so that's why I turn this up. Now, my rating for this, in case you haven't checked the description yet, basically for all of these videos, I give you my honest rating is a 4.9 out of 5. That's the FRECCERO rating. And if you're curious, you're like, Mark, what's with the 0.1 deduction? Why 4.9 out of 5? Here's the main reason why. Now, granted, I will say this is my personal preference. Another producer might be like, you know what, I actually like that is kind of the way it's made. Now, I'm going to show you. Now, obviously, as you can listen here, I have this going. However, if you notice, I have notes here and another note here, a very low note. Now, when I play this, as you'll notice, it sounds very different. You hear a tremolo. Right, when they do this thing. I can't play violin, but when they do like that thing with the string. I don't know. That's a weird movement. You get what I'm saying. Anyway, so if you notice when I bring this back up, it has certain sections of basically this keyboard highlighted. Now the orange are basically the range of the notes that you can play. Obviously, because these are violins, you're not going to be able to play some of these lower notes. Now, if you notice, you also have some notes in yellow, and these are basically the different options or the functions of basically the articulation of the violins. So, for example, you have the regular, you have tremolo, which you just heard as well. You basically have, the regular sound, but forte, and then piano, basically loud or soft. I don't really use piano or forte as much. I feel you can adjust that in some of the velocity with an Ableton, but also depends how the algorithm works with this plugin when it comes to velocity. So it became a little bit tricky. So I don't use these as much, but they can be useful in case, like, say, you adjust the velocity in Ableton, and it doesn't give you that exact punch or lack of punch that you want. Now, the reason why I'm not a fan of this, I like that it has those different articulation settings, is that you have to be able to basically play one of these low notes in order to activate the articulation. I wish this was one of these functions. As you can tell, I can click attack, and I can adjust it using automation, basically within Ableton if I want to adjust the attack, or if I want to adjust the whatever, I can adjust these mixer and effects and basically all these different things, going here, doing configure, and yada, yada, yada. The thing, though, is I don't like how I have to do the notes. So as you notice here, what happens is I play the tremolo, right? Now, if I go back to here, you'll notice the tremolo is still going to be in effect. Now, I didn't want that for this song. I only wanted the tremolo on this part and on this part. So essentially what I have to do is I have to play this note. Now, as you notice, nothing gets played. It's basically silence. Didn't hear anything. But it basically turned on now the regular mode of the plugin. So now it sounds like this. So, for example, if you notice, as the rest of the song goes on, obviously I have the tremolo here. And then I have a nice little, like, sad type section here with this kind of melody. But because the last part that gets played, at least in the timeline of this song, is the tremolo, I have to put another low note here and then play this. And to me, that's just a little bit frustrating. It's just my personal thing. And that's what I was going to say. It's not like the end of the world, obviously. All I have to do is put a low note here. But there have been times where, especially in the beginning when I first started using this plugin, where I was like, wait, why is this here? And I'm just going to delete it. And then I play it, and I'm like, oh, shoot, the tremolo's still on. And I forget that that actually has to be there. So that's the only reason why I give it a 4.9 out of 5. I wish that these different articulation settings were their own, basically, like knob, whether it's in the mixer, or basically another section on here where I could really just use like an automation like this or something, right? So I'd say like, okay, when this is basically up, it's the tremolo. When it's low here, it's, or whatever, something along those lines. I'd like that a lot better. Now, obviously, for some producers, they may like that. They might like that you have to play these low notes to turn on the different articulation settings that are within the plugin. I just found that a little bit frustrating. And sometimes I was a little bit like cautious. I was like, okay, even here, is it going to be activated right away? And obviously it is. Like I said, as you can see, the tremolo gets activated right when this note is played. And then it goes. But that was the only thing that was a little frustrating for me. But besides that, you really can't go wrong with this plugin. There are a lot of plugins out there for strings. There are a lot of samples out there for strings. And so, like I said in the beginning, I'm very, very picky about samples, but you really cannot beat this plugin in terms of just its functionality. Obviously, as you can see, I've never had any issues with it, and also the sound itself. So, I hope you like this video. Obviously, definitely check out in the description. I basically have the link to this, and obviously, in all these videos, hence the title, it's free. So, knock yourself out, right? Free download, basically, for all the plugins, basically any plugin I've ever mentioned in this series. So, I hope you like this video, and if you did, definitely hit a like and subscribe. And in addition to, if there are any plugins that you would like me to review, if there's any plugins that you're like, hey Mark, I heard about this free VST, I haven't tried it out yet though, do you mind reviewing it? I just want to see what your take on it is, or your perspective or opinion on it. Take a post in the comment section below, and obviously, thanks for watching.